Piper Cheyenne IIIA. Good morning guys, and welcome to my YouTube channel about aviation. If you like my content and you like my videos, please don't forget to click the like button, subscribe to my channel and share with your friends. If you have any comments or questions, just put it below. Good morning again, and I'm here at Cross Keys Airport, and we are shooting another video here about this beautiful, gorgeous airplane, Piper Cheyenne IIIA. Let's see what we have today. I'll tell you a funny story about yesterday. My cameraman, his name Oleg, he shocked till today, so he asked me to tell you this story. I picked this plane from Kabi Airport, Kilo Alpha Bravo Echo, after maintenance, and I never flew this airplane before. As you know, I'm an ATP pilot with 6,000 hours. I flew different kind of animals, but this is my first turboprop, and I never flew this plane before. I see this first time. I saw it first time yesterday actually. So I just start reading the book, the POH, and make sure I understand the procedures. So the biggest challenge, of course, it's in engines. It's a PT6A61. So my previous experience with flying Learjet 60 helped me to understand what does it mean ITT and how we need to control it, but everything else is pretty simple. So I spent about an hour reading the POH yesterday and walking around and checking everything exactly by book through the checklist. And yesterday we did first flight together with Oleg. So it wasn't scary, but I was a little bit nervous, to be honest, because this is the not familiar to me airplane. It's pretty heavy, 11,200 pounds max gross weight. And this is not my personal plane. This is my customer plane from Europe, and this baby should fly cross Atlantic today. So I have a couple of hours to do flight review about this plane, explain you everything I know. I don't know much, to be honest, and fly a little bit. And after that, airplane will fly up north to Goose Bay, Canada, Iceland, Reykjavik, Scotland, and to destination in Europe. Let's go and try to learn something about this plane together with me. You see this funny thing? This prop is kind of curved at the end. As far as I know, this is for silence, to make noise reduction, and I would say it works really good. I flew yesterday with some kind of old school David Clark headsets because I left my Bose in extra. So, and I would say it was the quietest flight on a big airplane I ever done before. So it's really quiet props. And for performances of this airplane, they are really efficient. What I mean about performances, this plane can give you up to 290 knots through speed at altitude above 30,000. Actually, max certified altitude for this airplane 35,000. I believe most of the people is flying between flight level 260, 290. I didn't check high altitude flight yesterday because we just replaced left windshield and we cannot use pressurization. But today we already can use it. So in a few hours we will. Hey, I'm here. Hello.
Chapter.
Oh. Hey, I'm here. And today we're gonna climb up to 26,000 to check pressurization system. And I will tell you a little bit more about this. But overall, it's two engines, PT6A61, rated 720 horsepower each, 3-blade props, noise reduction, and speed about 290 knots. This is really good performances for pretty old airplane. This particular baby built in 1984, actually production of PA 42720, how they call it officially, The production started in 1979 and the first delivery happens in 1980. Few hundred of planes like that is flying right now. This is model PA42720 or Piper Cheyenne IIIA. The next model is Piper Cheyenne 400 because the airspeed is more than 400 knots. Let's see what we have here. So it's pretty conventional plane, low wing with classical retractable gears. We have small baggage compartment here at the nose. I just lock it actually, and I didn't take my keys. Let's see what we have inside. I'll give you a review of this aircraft as a potential customer or pilot. So what I like here, this is nose compartment. You can look inside. Load for this compartment is 300 pounds, which is about 125 kilos. As you can see, I just put here a few boxes with logbooks. This airplane has 4 boxes like that. The full history since 1980. And you can use this compartment for pilot's personal belongings or some stuff you would like to put here. I would say it's pretty useful. 300 pounds and it's pretty big space here inside. Take. So right next to baggage compartment we have oxygen. So this is just a connector for oxygen. This aircraft is pressurized, so we definitely need oxygen bottle inside for pilots and for passengers in case of kind of emergency with pressurization system. So what we can see here, interesting, we have 2 pitot tubes. And as far as I read it yesterday in the POH, we have Q protection. What does it mean, Q protection? It means if computer identify difference between 2 of these pitot tubes for the airspeed, I don't remember exactly, like 4% or something like that. I need to double check in the book, but it will give you a signal in the cockpit. So it means the one tube is not working or something wrong. Landing lights here. This is of course steerable nose wheel, so you just need to use the rudders to drive this thing on the ground. Outside temperature. Everything here is pretty simple. Pay attention, guys. This plane has de-icing boots, de-icing system, and de-icing system split it in 2 pieces. The inner side of de-icing boots and outside. We just checked it yesterday, it works perfectly, actually. We have small mirror here. I believe everybody knows why we need it, but just in case, if somebody has any questions why this mirror is here, write this down in the comments. We'll have a discussion. Let's go and see inside what we have here. I like these lockers actually because it's not only lockers, it's also some kind of vertical shifts. They go into these holes and make sure it's properly connected. So let's see, oil. Do you know the funny thing about checking the oil and the turboprop and turbine engines? You have to check the oil when it's hot, in 10 minutes after engine stopped. So it doesn't make any sense to check oil right now. I believe we have oil. I want to believe. That's it. Always when you start to pre-flight, make sure you removed all covers and all hoses and air intakes is free. No birds inside, no bird nest. Everything should be good. Closed, locked. This is outside of the icing system. And here we go. This one is really interesting inside because this is auxiliary tanks. I don't remember exactly what is fuel volume in this tank, but the total one is 562 gallons. The 4 tanks for this airplane is 562 gallons of fuel, Jet A of course, and this allows you to stay in the air up to 5 hours, maybe 6. The average consumption rate on this plane is about 100 gallons. You probably could do less, but it depends from altitude, of course. As higher you are, is better your fuel consumption rate and performances. The next baggage compartment is right here in a section for motor. Wow! You can use this baggage compartment for small belongings or just for aircraft covers, like pitot tube covers or engine covers or tie downs. The max baggage load you can put here is 100 pounds, about 40-45 kilos. It's good to have, actually. So here is everything is pretty simple, static ports. Piper Cheyenne has few modifications: Piper Cheyenne I, Piper Cheyenne II, Piper Cheyenne III, 3A, and 400. How you can identify which one is Cheyenne 2 or 1? Simple. Piper Cheyenne 2 and 1 has horizontal stabilizer right here. It's not the T-tail. Piper Cheyenne 3, 3A and 400 has a T-tail, like that. The reason for this is aerodynamic. That's it. It's simple. Because this airplane is 1 meter, 3 feet longer than Piper Cheyenne 1 and 2. So if you have longer fuselage, you need to compensate it somehow to make it balanced. So they put the T-tail. I think it's a smart solution anyway. And anti-ice, I mean, it's not anti-ice, it's a de-ice system on the leading edge of horizontal stabilizer or empennage. Pretty big rudder, so you can see it works really good. And finally, what I like about this airplane, it's a passenger door. I'll show you why I really like it, because it's not only passenger door, but it's also combined passenger and cargo door. Look at this, how it works. We have really nice passenger door with steps here, so you can easily go inside. But we also have small cargo door which is really useful to help me to load the baggage in the baggage compartment behind this small wall. So the baggage compartment here for 300 pounds, which is about 140 kilos. So you can load it here, I would say 5, maybe 6 cabin size bags. And what I really like about this plane, you can remove this piece to help you to load and unload the big boxes or big luggage, big size luggage. This is really nice. And as I said, this cabin is pressurized, so all these rubbers here is pressurized, and when you close the door you need to lock it properly, otherwise you cannot lock it. As you can see here, this step should be below this locker. That's it. So I think this is mostly everything about airplane from outside. If you have any questions, comments, let me know. I'll try to find out and answer your questions. The next part we will see inside the cabin, which is really big actually. In the original configuration, this plane can take from 6 to 9 people, up to 9 people. 2 seats for pilot and co-pilot, 4 seats in club configurations, 2 seats behind, and 1 more seat right here as a toilet. So we removed it specially for this video, but you can imagine it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 seats for passengers and 2 more for pilot and co-pilot. Pretty nice. And now I need to tell you about useful load, because everybody asked me, like Oleg asked me right now, why we cannot take 9 people on board, 300 kilos of luggage, full tanks, and fly for 6 hours. Because as usually it's a compromise between weight and performances. If you create the airplane who can take everything, it will be a really big airplane, required a lot of power, big engines, and really huge fuel consumption rate. So all manufacturers, they balance between performances, fuel consumption, economy, and customer requirements. If you would like to take about 7 people here, you cannot take full tanks. You will have like 50%. If you would like to have 9 passengers here, you will have 30–35% of fuel. And your flight will be shorter, like 1.5 hours, maybe 2 hours max. Useful load on this airplane, 4,488 pounds. So, and fuel, as I said, 562 gallons. So full tanks will weight around 3,700 pounds, and we have 700 pounds left. So in general, just a shortcut this conversation, if you have full tanks for the maximum distance, for the maximum range, you can take only 3 people on board. Maybe 4 if it's a tiny people. 1 pilot and 3 passengers. No baggage. If you would like to take 4 passengers, baggage, pilot, you need to reduce the amount of fuel you have. And definitely you will reduce time in the air. Let's go inside and see what's there. Welcome on board. Ooh, hello. Do you have champagne? Please, champagne, orange juice, and cappuccino. You can mix in 1 bottle, everything. So guys, we are inside the Piper Cheyenne IIIA. As you can see, it's not a huge airplane. I think, as far as I remember, King Air 260 cabin. So this airplane has less height, but it's longer than King Air. So for 5 feet 6 inches or 170 centimeters, it's good enough. For people with maybe taller than me, it can be a little bit difficult. Everything else is pretty good, so it's a comfortable seats. I don't think it's original seats, but maybe, who knows. As usually, club cabin passengers, they have tables. I have no idea what is inside, but I believe it's a table. Yes. This is map of the United States, 48 states, to make sure you know where you are. The passenger has is usually headlights, some vent here, nothing else. So what I like in this airplane, each seat has Bose connectors, so passengers can fly with headsets, listen some music or talking to pilot easily. And as I said, it's pretty quiet in the cabin. So when we take off, I will ask my cameraman to go inside the cockpit and record the noise, and you will see it's not really noisy. What else here? I can see emergency exit on the right side in case of emergency, and the left side is blocked or fire outside. You can use the right side. Just go outside, step on the wing, and jump. Nice. Some picture here. Nice. I like it. So nothing else to add. One more thing I would like to say, it's a lot of room for legs. So especially in this configuration, when we have four seats, I can move myself back and I can easily sleep here. I can put air back here and sleep inside. So overall, because I flew this plane yesterday, I can tell you I really like this plane, and not only as a pilot but as a passenger as well. I can see a couple of shelves here, so it's like a small shelves for magazines or something like that. It's pretty old. If I were owner of this airplane, I would like to remove it completely and probably put something more modern. Maybe I'll put some coffee machine, to be honest, because coffee machine, this is what I like to do in the flight. Or maybe some kind of mini bar, some kind of music in, I can see here. So it means maybe the previous owner connected iPhone or some source of music to headset system and listen with everybody. I don't know, I didn't check it yet. What I don't like in this airplane, this space between two seats is pretty narrow. So the pilot who will fly this airplane should be really tiny guy. So to go inside the cockpit, I need to use my 1 foot, move my ass and go like that. Not really simple, to be honest. So for example, Oleg cannot squeeze here. He's too big for that. This is my checklist, and here I have my Bible. As I said, I read this book yesterday. This is a pilot operational handbook. It's open on a normal takeoff checklist. So this is what I did yesterday. Piper Cheyenne IIIA Pilot's Operating Handbook. So please, pilots, even if you are over-experienced, thousands and thousands of hours, dozens of planes and aircraft you can fly, don't hesitate to read this book. It's a lot of useful information here. So I don't need it now because I spent an hour yesterday, and now I'm gonna use abbreviated checklist. So it has less information and only to-do checklist, what I need to do really in flight. I'm ready to go. What about you? I can play all day long with this baby. Let's go fly. Voltmeter check. Oil cool door open. Seat belts. Left engine first. Fuel pump on. Ignition to manual. Air prop. Starter generator switch to start. Starter generator to start. ITT check. Roll pressure green. Generator on. Ammeter 1000. Power to idle. Condition lever to stop. Fuel pump on. Check. Fuel pump auto. Ignition to manual. Air prop.
Generators both on. Looking good. Battery master on. Radar normal.
TAS system test. Okay.
Cross keys, Piper Cheyenne, taxiing from Skydive on to runway 27 for departure.
Safe flight, Andrey. Skyhawk 92.
See you later, man. Thank you.
Right crosswind, runway 01.
Cross keys, traffic count, Piper Cheyenne crossing 1000, a left downwind departure, climb to 17.5. Okay guys, what are we gonna have right now? Let's check our cruising performances. That's section number 5. Okay, let's see on the performance chart what do we have. Climb, this is the cruise, okay. 1800 RPM. This is what I have, maximum cruise speed, altitude 18,000, torque, per engine 21. Fuel consumption right now, 762 pounds an hour, so it's 110 gallons an hour. And cruiser speed should be 282, which is, yeah, probably like that. Maybe a little bit less. It's a maximum cruise power. If I would like to use, wow, 2101, it's a max. Long range cruise, torque 13.5, 1125. Let's see, on torque 1125, there we go, it's right here, and speed will be 212. Looks like. So, nice performances on this airplane, as I said. The only one thing I don't like on this plane is the fuel consumption rate. But now I did it a little bit less, so we're burning right now about 550 pounds an hour, which is 90 gallons an hour approximately. We're gonna be slow, about 231 ground speed and 180 indicated speed. Low, but not bad. Anyway, it's a good, really good performances. So autopilot on this airplane is pretty old. Really old, but it's a flight directors here. I have yaw damper, I have autopilot, so actually I can fly everything. It's old but good, oldies but goodies. So everything else here on the panel is pretty standard. 6-pack panel, I have HSI here, I have WRs here, which is really good. I have radar altimeter, I can switch it on if I need it. Actually, let's do it. Radar altimeter, we will have it. So I have fuel consumption indicator, so I can see since yesterday I already burned 1,255 pounds or 200 gallons. So my flight's pretty expensive since yesterday. 6-pack is pretty standard. Altitude, fuel quantity in the left and right tank, engine parameters. This is torque, this is ITT temperature, this is RPM on the props, this is RPM in the percentage, fuel flow, and oil pressure and oil temperature. Fuel pressure here, this is flaps indicator, standard radio panel, it's Garmin 530W here, Garmin 430W here. This is radar, I never use it, I have no idea what is that, but looks like it works good. Right here, this ADF, I never use it, and separate backup panel on the right side. Engine control quadrant is pretty simple. It's torque control, this is prop control, angle of prop, and this control RPMs, and this is my, how they call it on here, I don't know, it's fuel control. That's it, pretty simple. The autopilot can fly on a heading mode, the autopilot can fly nav mode, it can hold altitude, or it can fly up and down, maintaining vertical speed or indicated speed during the climb, so which is really nice. I can see Delaware River on the left window, it's cool. So everything is here on overhead panel is pretty simple also. We don't need actually cowlings here. Close. So this is starter generator, to the 3-position switch. It can be starter for start the engine, or it can be generator or off. So this is ignitions, fuel pump on or auto, and bleed air. Bleed air can be normal for pressurization, or for it can be high. Actually, what I really like, the pressurization system is great. It works absolutely amazing. Look at this. The cabin not climbing anymore. We are at 17,500 right now, and my cabin has 5,000 feet. So, if I will be about 35,000, the cabin will be at 7,000, maybe 8,000, which is really cool. Pressurization on this airplane will working great. As actually, everything works great on this aircraft. And autopilot and pressurization system, everything absolutely amazing. So we are going to Potsdam Airport, and the reason why we are going there, it's the cheapest jet ale fuel in the area. They promise $4.50 per gallon. I'm not sure if it's right price, but we will check it out in 10 minutes. So now we are at 17,500 feet, and I'm ready to start my descent to land in this airport. So I reduce my torque, and I will use autopilot for descent, and I will put altitude 2,500 for that. Let's go down. Piper Cheyenne approaching from the east, descending from 3,000 to 1,200, pattern altitude, join left downwind for runway. Potsdam traffic, Piper Cheyenne left downwind, I have traffic upwind inside, Potsdam. So this airplane is pretty hard to slow down. This is one of the issues you can have if you flew slow airplanes before and you jump to turboprop like Cheyenne. I can tell you I'm on the final and I have 135 knots right now, so I need to slow down. Unfortunately, this aircraft doesn't have any air brakes. So we don't have air brakes, we don't have any interceptors, so I need to slow down using engine controls, prop pull forward,
500,
and flaps and gear. Potsdam traffic, Piper Cheyenne on a short final runway 26, full stop landing. Potsdam. Yeah, I'm using the reference speed for approach is 100 knots, 105. This runway is pretty short, so I'm gonna land short, low speed, and use full brakes and reverse to slow down airplane. It's 2,700 feet runway. Nice, I didn't use brakes, I just used reverse, and we almost stop on half of runway. But I paid for the full runway, I will use full runway. I like it.
Guys, I completely fall in love with this aircraft. I don't know what happens to me, but I really like to fly it. It's performance-wise and cost-wise and overall, this is really nice, great aircraft. Just a little facts. Airspeed above 260, 270 knots, up to flight level 290. I didn't check the airspeed above this altitude, but I believe it can give me 290 easily. So, nice climb performances, 1,500, 2,000 feet per minute. It can take up to 9 passengers on board, I mean 2 pilots and 7 passengers. This is the max. Nice baggage compartments, nose baggage compartments, perfect. Layout, you can play with layout as much as you want. So you can remove the seats, you can add the seats, you can invert the seats 180 degrees backwards, whatever you want. We just remove 2 back seats and we install them back in 5 minutes. This is all positive about this airplane. As a pilot, I just enjoy to fly. It's autopilot equipped, it's a Garmin G530 equipped, it's WAAS, LPV, GPS approaches is available. Of course, it's ILS VOR approaches is available. Fully IFR aircraft with de-icing on the wings with boots, perfectly working. And only one cons I have on this airplane is usually it's a cost. So it's a fuel consumption rate on this baby is about 100 gallons on the low level altitudes and maybe 90 gallons higher, which gives me about 500 to 700 dollars per hour, depending from fuel cost. It's kind of a little bit worry me, so because it's a little bit more expensive than flying on conventional piston airplanes, but in exchange of this fuel consumption rate and this cost, you will have speed. Speed gives you less time in the air. Less time in the air will give you less cost. So overall, it's a nice airplane. If you like to fly fast, if you like to take your family on board up to 5 to 6 people at the same time, if you would like to fly long range, actually by specification this airplane can fly up to 1400 nautical miles. So if you would like to fly long, far with your family, with cost efficient, less than $1,000 an hour, this airplane for you. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, please push the button like, share and subscribe. Stay tuned. See you later.